I am obviously a sewist, I'm a burlesque artist, and now I am working on starting my clothing brand. I am wearing a rough example of the type of thing that I will be making, the thing that will kind of make up my first collection. I'm hoping to do 2 colorways. I'm adjusting the fit of this, but I have a video coming out about that soon. I wanted to give you a taste of the things that inspire me. I take inspiration from a number of things. It all seems to lead back to the Victorian era or whimsy or romance, which honestly the Victorian era was full of. Not only Victorian fashion, but Rococo fashion as well. Just the maximalism, I think, really speaks to me. A few things that really have inspirational vibes for me would be the World of Beatrix Potter, Madame Alexander dolls. And one thing I've noticed about dolls is that we put them in so many like cute whimsical styles. Obviously things that we like looking at because adults buy dolls usually to have them on display and look at them. And it's like, why can't we kind of treat ourselves the same way? Like, why can't we dress ourselves with the same whimsy? And I know the answer is like practicality a lot of times, but I think sometimes, like, I don't know, like my day job, I work at a desk. I can wear pretty much whatever I want as long as it's like office appropriate. I have definitely pulled a lot of inspiration from vintage Laura Ashley, and Laura Ashley herself, if I'm remembering my information correctly, pulled a lot of inspiration from her childhood in the English countryside, which ties in again with Beatrix Potter, whose little stories all take place in the English countryside. Those like little animals all dressed up those are the vibes. But I believe Laura Ashley as a brand, I think, kind of pulls a bit from the Victorian era, especially as you get like more into the 80s, when I think fashion was pulling from the Victorian era and the 50s simultaneously. But the 50s were also pulling from the Victorian era too. The new look silhouette is pretty much a reference to the big skirts and comparatively small waists of the Victorian era. How many times can I say Victorian era in this video? I guess basically I mostly pull my inspiration from old things. Now, my brand definitely is not the only brand that does that. I take inspiration from modern brands like For Love and Lemons. Lace Made is a big one. It doesn't mean that I love everything that Lace Made or For Love and Lemons makes. It's just like Lace Made, for example, I know specifically remakes certain things from vintage or historical pop culture. And For Love and Lemons seems to use some like old patterns, you know, but they package it in a very modern way. Modern and trendy, and I'm aware that certain things that I like are kind of trending right now, which is a little bit concerning because I have always been this way. I've always loved bows, and I know that it's just gonna turn out to be like a quintessential 2020s thing, I'm sure, and we'll look back on things 30 years from now and we'll think the bows were so ridiculous, and I'll still be covered in bows in the senior center. So obviously historical silhouettes are a big inspiration for me. You should see my Pinterest fashion board. Old costumes are a really great reference for me to pull from, because especially like old Hollywood doing like old Hollywood version of whatever era they're trying to do, because they will always make everything more like more. They will always make it, I don't know, they're always gonna make everything more like camped up, more whimsical, and old costumes just in general. So like think old ballet costumes, like the ballerinas and like old paintings and stuff, old like drawings and paintings of can-can dancers. So you're getting the vibe, you're getting the silhouette. Don't forget that the colorways of these different eras are just, I think, very different from what we're doing now. And it's kind of a breath of fresh air to see what some of these other colorways were. Like this is what I'm working on now. And like a baby pink and black. A lot of places aren't doing that now, but I've seen For Love and Lemons do it. It's like thinking out of the box, but also pulling from history, which I really like. Okay, so I've pretty much covered all of my sources, or most of my sources of inspiration. We've got dolls, vintage fashion, historical fashion, Hollywood fashion. And I would say I take inspiration from like going to old places too, like walking around really old buildings. And like when I was in Paris last year and in Italy, and I was walking around these super old buildings, and I don't know, it's like I could feel the vibes and it was inspiring me. And one thing I have to mention is that I do take a lot of inspiration from like 1950s lingerie, but also even like Edwardian lingerie and like just general like vintage like old underwear. Because I am like kind of obsessed with the 1950s Merry Widow girdle type situation, and I will be, hopefully in the future, if my brand does not flop, I will release a line of Merry Widows. And oh my god, if I could get them to like match the dresses that I'm making as well. Oh my god, so you could have your dress and then the matching Merry Widow underneath. That's the dream. That's it. Because I just have like all these ideas for different colors, and like I love lace and, you know, all the pretty things. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I really appreciate that. You may want to stick around and hear more about my brand. I am not sharing the name just yet. It's a little bit of a secret. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.